Hello, welcome to Five Writers, 5 Minutes. My name is Deborah Abella.
I'm Sarah Armstrong.
I'm Tristan Banks.
I'm Leanne Tanner.
And I'm Zanny Louise.
And today we want to talk about between book soup. Now, I'm not sure that is a thing that any other writers group has ever spoken about, but we have recently come on this, we've decided we're going to call it that because when you're writing a project and you're really into it and it's actually maybe nearly at the end and it's like it's in really good shape, your brain automatically, for me anyway, is starting to think, well, what am I going to write next? And what about all those other ideas I've been ignoring for so long? Which one do I choose? How do I choose which one to write, especially when I'm going to spend at least a year on that project? So that soupiness between novels. Sarah, how do you approach the soup?
I try and stay in the soup for a while, like not to land too swiftly on my next idea. I have a file in my computer where I put ideas, and some of them are from when I used to write for grown-ups, and I've just, adapted them for younger readers. But I've just got a file there, and I'll go and visit it, and I'll read through it, and I'll have a bit of a think, and a couple will leap out at me. But I try not to choose, and I just try to stay open also during my life to stuff around me. Like, it's such a great time. I mean, look, to be honest, when I'm writing a book, stuff around me in the world seems to find its way into the book. Like, I'll see someone, I'll see a dog with a beanie on or something, and suddenly there'll be a dog with a beanie in my book. But the same thing when I'm in that in-between book thing, I'm just trying to absorb lots of stuff and just see what might spark an idea. And that kind of what if is one of those sparks. Like, I was just caught in this incredible thunderstorm, and I'm like, I was with a group of people and we had to shelter somewhere, and I'm like, what if you got caught in a thunderstorm and your sort of arch enemy was there trapped with you, So just that sort of from my day-to-day life, I just try and find those little what ifs, and I'm just jotting them all down, and then there just comes a moment when I know which is the one I want to work on. But I don't want to get there too quickly because I want to remain open. Possibility.
Yep.
Well, that's very brave of you, Sarah, because I'm not a big between book soup is my least favorite food. I have been for about 15 years, I reckon. I'm just reading back through all of my old notebooks at the moment, and I realize that I'm always talking about, I'm dreaming up and on my work in progress, I'm thinking about what's next in that chapter. I'm kind of sprinkling in bits about what if this story that I've been thinking about but I've never written, and then I'm also thinking about, this book that's just about to come out, how am I going to share it in fun ways with readers? And so I've always got this overlap of like 3 different threads going at any one time. And with Scartown, my latest book, I just decided about a year out that I was going to put absolutely everything into it and get it done, because otherwise there was no way I was ever going to get it done. So I didn't start seeding something before it was finished. And so I'm in the soup at the moment. I'm swimming around, I'm drowning in the soup. And I have, 4 or 5 ideas, but because they're all at the very early stage, I don't feel like I really know any of them that well. So I keep trying and then backing out and trying again. So I'm very impressed by Sarah's bravery in loving the soup.
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult time too, Tristan. I'm just finishing off a book at the moment, which is kind of a really exciting stage because the whole thing starts to come together at last, So I really like this stage. But around the edges of that, little ideas are starting to creep in, and I'm noticing that, that I'm starting to daydream about what comes next, and I'm starting to make notes and jot things down so that I don't forget them. And like Sarah, I think this is really important, that when I do get to the between books stage, when this current book's finished, I find that I have to resist the temptation to pin the ideas down too quickly, because what I want to be doing is writing the next book, because I like being in the middle of a book. It's a really nice state to be in. So I want to be sitting down and getting words on page and seeing the story develop and all that sort of stuff. But what I have found is that if I go too quickly, the story comes out shallow. And that if I stay with the uncertainty, and that's what it is, if I stay with the soup, seeing we're going to extend this metaphor, if I stay with it for as long as possible, that's when the richness comes in. And that's what creates the idea, it creates the opportunity for a whole lot of different ideas to come in and for the story to grow and develop and become so much better than it would have been. And that kind of is that same thing of trying to decide between a whole lot of different ideas too. You know, like I don't want to pin myself down to one too soon. And if I leave it for, if I can hold myself in that state of uncertainty, the one that I really want to write will kind of float to the surface of the soup.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I trust that process as well. So I'm about to enter into this now. I have writing seasons, so like blocks of time where I'll just be fully immersed, and it's quite different from my other season where I'm out in schools and things like that, because I do really want to have full immersion. So what I've found helps is having a blank notebook, like not even lines, and having stacks of magazines and pictures. I'm quite inspired by images, and spending a lot of playtime just collaging, writing words, listening to music, putting things in, trying to draw on some of the things that I've been wrestling with lately. So often there'll be something that I've been grappling with in my normal life, and I find that I have to kind of start from somewhere like that to have enough juice for a whole novel. So for example, at the moment, the word wilderness just keeps coming up every time it's the thing I'm really drawn to at the moment. So I do feel like wilderness possibly will be, it's the vegetable floating to the top of the soup. So let's see. What about you, Deb?
I think that what you said at the end is really, really important. What are you drawn to right now? And that's what I try to lean into when I'm in the middle of a project. And unlike Leanne, I love being in the middle of a project. It's so exciting, especially when it starts to go quite well. But then I'm just trying to be awake. I'm trying to be really aware of what is it that I'm really excited about, passionate about, angry about, whatever it is that really fires me up. And I try and keep sort of lists of that. And so so for example, I'm just finishing a book called The Kindness Project. And that came about because I got this really strong image in my head of a nana and a kid escaping from a nursing home. And I thought, this is going to be a light, funny, lovely book. And it changed. The more I just meandered through that idea, played with the idea, daydreamed about it, like I didn't try to be too serious about it, the more it said, actually, no, that's just a scene. In fact, that's just the first turning point. There are going to be other relationships that are just as important, and the climax is going to be totally different. And so you have to meander, you have to play. I've been really trying, because I'm nearly finished that book and I'm starting another one. I'm trying to just trust that just because I'm not at my desk and I am not writing 10 hours a day or even 2 hours a day, it's okay, because I think I need to just bubble and play and let that soup develop in flavor. And the only way I can do that is almost not touch it. Like, don't stir it. This is really going on, this metaphor. It's probably extended too far. But be a little bit of a bowerbird, like as Sarah said too. You might see something in the distance in a park or on a walk or while you're out with friends or whatever, and you go, oh, dog with a hat. Yes, I'll take that. So that for me, and again, like Zanny said, the idea that is most exciting for me will bubble up to the surface and literally sort of bully through the other ideas and say, I'm next. I want to be the one. So and I've learned to trust that a little bit over the years.
But you have to be patient, don't you?
Patient, yes.
You have to have the patience to wait for it.
It's true. Don't panic. All right, everyone. So don't panic. Enjoy the soup. Meander, play, daydream, and thank you for listening to our podcast. We're a YouTube thingy as well, and we have quite a few episodes now where we talk about stuff that we've learned over our many, many years of writing. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.